Hello and welcome to another edition of the Ag+Bio+Science podcast, where we look at the important convergence of food, science, technology, and the impacts here in Indiana. And very pleased to have as our guest on this edition of the podcast, Jane Ade Stevens, the president and CEO of the Indiana Soybean Alliance and Indiana Corn Marketing Council. And Jane, great to see you.
Thank you for having me.
Thanks for coming in. First of all, we'll talk a little bit about your background, but to start off, the Soybean Alliance, the Corn Marketing Council, very well-known organizations in the state, but if you could give us a thumbnail description of what the organizations are all about.
These organizations, both for corn and soybeans, are funded and administered by corn and soybean farmers with the intent to build new markets for corn and soybeans. And so that's our job. We're out there looking and trying to find new places, new ways to use corn and soybeans so that farmers have more access to new markets.
How long have you been with the organization? And give us a little of your background.
I've been with the organization a long time. And I grew up on a farm west of Purdue and have always wanted to be involved in the association and farming business. And so I've been very lucky to spend most of my career working with farmers on issues, whether it's policy issues or marketing kinds of things like we do now.
Yeah, I want to talk about the glass barn in a moment, but you talk about issues to kind of bring it current day. What are some of the big pressing issues that you're dealing with, working with the farm community in Indiana right now?
Well, certainly right now we are dealing with, which is a good thing, we have a wonderful crop growing right now, both corn and soybeans. So we're hoping that continues through harvest. It's always good to have a lot of bushels. Yep. Obviously, at the same time, we're dealing with uncertainty in the trade business with our trading partners with China and Europe. So there's uncertainty there, and that plays out in the markets. And so we continue to be concerned and watch that closely.
Is it too early to really assess, or what's the feeling you get? Can you assess the mood, if you will, of farmers in Indiana with respect to the trade situation?
Well, I mean, we're clearly very concerned because our business is about exports. We can't use everything we grow in the United States, so we have to have the export market. So that's absolutely critical. At the same time, there are very critical issues, particularly with China, that affect agriculture from a trade standpoint that we need to get fixed. And the intellectual property issues, how they deal with our biotechnology, those kinds of things are very serious issues that put limits on U.S. farmers, and so they do need to get fixed. How you do that is what's up for play, right?
Right. Difficult issues. Talk about the importance, in your view, and you've been in agriculture for a long time, but the importance of AgriNovus as an organization in telling and supporting the story of agriculture and the Ag+Bio+Sciences in Indiana. It seems to me as though this focus on agriculture and the business of agriculture is just increasing exponentially. It's always been important, but now there seems to be momentum behind it, led in large part by what AgriNovus and others are doing as well.
I think that's true. I think we tend to forget that the basic motivation is we still don't grow enough food or have enough food to feed everybody in the world. And that's still our motivation, is how do we make sure everybody in the world has enough food to eat. Now, part of that's agronomic and part of that's political. Mm-hmm. But so AgriNovus is very important because farming is the one, and farmers are one of the first users of technology. So we've always been a high user of technology, and we want to continue to be that way. And our agriculture and how we grow our food is utilizing that. And so we need organizations like AgriNovus to bring that latest, those latest entrepreneurs, those latest technologies to the forefront. And we'd like to see them happen here here in Indiana.
Yeah, and a quick question on feeding the world, because there are those who talk about Indiana already as a leader, but can really be a leader in that whole movement with Purdue University, with Elanco, with Dow Agri-Sciences, Corteva, Ag+Bio+Science. The assets here, and can, in your view, Indiana really be a center for that whole world food issue?
I mean, we have all the right pieces. And the other part that I see from my vantage point that we have over all of the other states is this is a state where all the pieces work together very, very well between business, education, government, and the private sector and farmers. We all get along well, and we all literally meet on a regular basis to try to figure out how we can do things better. I've been around a long time. I've been in most every state, and I don't see that happening in other states. They may have leaders, and they may lead in certain areas, but they don't have the whole package. Mm-hmm. And I do seriously believe that's why Indiana can be the leader in this area.
Talk about shifting gears a bit, but a really, I think, innovative and certainly interesting project that you embarked on almost 5 years ago. We were out with Inside Indiana Business to do a story, but the glass barn at the Indiana State Fair, and for those listening who haven't seen it, describe what it's all about.
Well, it's a new building. People will approach it and go, well, that doesn't look like a barn, but that's okay. I mean, the point is there's a lot of glass, and the point is to help the consumer, those that are not connected to farming anymore, as I like to say, get a clear view of what Indiana agriculture and farming is about. And so inside our exhibits, and we feature farm families, soybean, corn, dairy, pork, and the point is to show how these families are growing food, fiber and fuel, ingredients, and using the latest technology, just like everybody else is with their phone when they walk into the building, staring down at it. Farmers do the same thing. Yeah. They're looking at how the crop's going, or they're looking, maybe they're actually planting a crop through looking at their phone. So we want to show people that's what agriculture is about today, and that's our goal. So we do it during the 17 days of the State Fair, but most importantly, then we are involved with the State Fair's year-round education program. So we have thousands of school children coming throughout the year, learning about agriculture and where food comes from.
You're also involved with the Phenotyping Center that was announced and up and running not that long ago, a relatively new initiative at Purdue University. Why be a part of that?
Well, again, our farmers, we're really good at growing. They're very good at growing crops, and they keep growing more. And they also are interested in making sure we're doing the best we can with the soils and the natural resources, and we want to use the latest technology. And so the Phenotyping Center at Purdue was a one-of-a-kind opportunity for us. It's a one-of-a-kind center in the world, and we just felt that was a good investment, long-term, what I call legacy investment for farmers around the country, to invest in that so that we are learning more and more about how to grow our crops more efficiently and effectively and protecting our natural resources.
Soybean Alliance and Corn Marketing Council also really support entrepreneurs and developing innovators, if you will, in agriculture. And one of the ways you do that is through the New Uses Student Competition, which has been around for a long time, more than 2 decades, I think.
Yes.
I've attended it. It's really a cool event. But talk about the importance of supporting emerging entrepreneurs in agriculture.
This is a program, like I say, we've had it over 20 years, and it's very exciting for us to be involved. Basically, we are working with students from Purdue University. They decide to make teams, and what we're looking for are new ways to use soybeans. And that's basically, there's not a lot of parameters other than bring us a new novel approach to how we could use soybeans. So we've had all kinds of things come through. A lot of them are kind of crazy. Some of them actually end up working. And so it's the thing that I like about it. Not only do we find new products, but it is one of those programs now where most of our teams, last year I think we ended up having 15 teams compete, and there'll be teams of 4. Most of them are not agriculture students. students. They are from engineering, they're from pharmacy, they're from computer science, maybe agriculture, but they're all working together. And again, that's what our business is about. And so when people think of agriculture, I hope that they realize that, if they want to be a farmer, it's much easier for anyone to be a farmer today than it used to be, because it's becoming so technical in technology.
Very interesting stuff. I really appreciate it. Jane Aid Stevens, thanks for not only for being here, but for all you do for agriculture and have for a long time. And we'll look forward to seeing you again very soon.
Thank you, Gerry.
Jane Aid Stevens is the president and CEO of the Indiana Soybean Alliance and the Indiana Corn Marketing Council. And we're glad to have her on this edition of the Ag+Bio+Science podcast. I'm Gerry Dick. We'll see you next time.
This podcast is a product of Inside Indiana Business, hosted by Gerry Dick. Produced by Libby Fritz and Joe Ullery, and was recorded on location at Launch Fishers. More people get Indiana business news from Inside Indiana Business than any other source.